What's going on, guys? Welcome to your stimulus check update, stimulus package update and news report for Tuesday, April 6th. So today we have some game-changing news that I want to bring to your attention. This is something that is just going to completely blow your mind. This is crazy what is actually coming out. Last night, we also got breaking news that the Senate Democrats got a huge win with the Senate parliamentarian. We also know we are just one day away from an additional millions and millions of Americans receiving their $1,400 stimulus checks. And the biggest news is how the Biden administration is planning to bypass a potential housing crisis. And what they are doing, again, is mind-blowing. I'm going to address all that in today's video. So first, let's discuss the $1,400 stimulus checks because I know a lot of you are still waiting. Right now, millions of people await the April 7th date, which is tomorrow, for their $1,400 stimulus checks to go from a pending payment to an available payment or available balance. That is good. That is tomorrow. Millions of Americans will be smiling from ear to ear tomorrow as their payments become available. What I just want to say is that this is almost a month. Tomorrow is almost 1 month from the date that President Biden signed the American Rescue Plan, that $1.9 trillion stimulus package. So even though the Democrats and President Biden said that the money is going to come out almost immediately, it is still being delayed a little bit. We also know veterans are going to have to wait possibly until the end of April and even into May before they start receiving their stimulus checks. We also know the IRS is sending out the plus-up payments as well. And you might not know what this is. You may have heard about this. But essentially what a plus-up payment is, it's telling you that the IRS they went off the 2019 federal income tax returns in order to determine if you qualified for for the $1,200 stimulus check or the $600 stimulus checks in 2020. Well, the issue is if your income actually went down because you lost your job, you had a pay cut, whatever reason, your income went down in 2020, the IRS is automatically looking at this. So if you didn't qualify in 2019, but then you filed for 2020, in 2021, you filed already, and what it shows is that you actually did qualify for those $1,800 in payments. That's the $1,200 and $600 payments. The IRS is going to automatically send out that payment, which is the plus up. Now, we also know the IRS, they will be sending out the unemployment income tax overpayments sometime in April. However, some experts are currently saying that some people will still have to file an amended tax return in order to get their full amounts. We do not know exactly why, but many experts are saying that yes, people will have to file an amended tax return simply because the IRS is most likely going to overlook some people. So, even though the IRS is going to do their best to try to get this money out as quickly as possible, they are still human, they will make mistakes, and chances are you do have a good possibility of doing an amended tax return coming up in order to get your full stimulus refund back. So just keep that in mind. Experts also recommend that anybody that's still owed a $1,200 or $600 stimulus check, go and get those. Go and file your taxes and get those, because right now millions of people are still waiting on their tax returns. Millions of people are still waiting on their stimulus checks. But what experts are saying is that we have a very good shot of getting an additional stimulus check, and it could be coming very soon. But having lingering checks is actually hurting Democrats' chances of getting another stimulus check added into the next bill. That's not what we want. We do not want, lawmakers and Republicans, Democrats, whatever. We do not want lawmakers coming out and saying, well, you guys are asking for an additional $2,000 stimulus check, yet we have millions of checks that are unaccounted for. We have millions of checks that have yet to be cashed. We have millions of checks that have yet to be, or millions of prepaid debit cards that have yet to even be activated. And so it's because of that reason they're wondering, like, why do we need any more money why don't we just try to get these people their payments and then we should be fine? Well, others say no, that even though you got a $1,200, a $600, and a $1,400 stimulus check, you could still use an additional check, whether it's $1,000 or $2,000. We don't know. But chances are there's going to be an additional stimulus check in the next bill. But as of right now, we just don't know when that bill is going to pass. We don't know exactly what will be in that bill. We don't know if there will be a for sure stimulus check or additional direct payments to the American people, but we're all hoping for the best. Now, lawmakers are determining whether or not there will be a additional stimulus check in this next bill. They're still working on that. But let's address the major news that is coming out of the Biden administration right now. This is big. This is going to impact many more people than an additional $1,200 or $1,000 or $2,000 stimulus check, especially if it's a one-time payment. What I'm going to address right now is going to impact many more people. Here's what we know. Yesterday, we learned that the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, that they want to put in safeguards in place to help protect and make sure families are not forced into foreclosure. And this is all because that right now there are, I think, 3 million loans in mortgage forbearance. What that means is people have taken their loan, said, I can't pay it right now, take my payments and push it all the way to the back of my loan. Well, that's what banks are doing. Well, about 3 million people are currently on that. And what we know is that right now, yes, this is helping millions and millions of Americans. But the issue is some are worried that as soon as this is over, which this is supposed to be over on, I think, September 6th or August 31st. It's one of those dates. Okay, I think it's September 6th. This whole thing will just go away. Here's the problem. If it were to just go away, then as soon as it goes away the next day, you could see people filing, or you see banks sending out foreclosure notices. Well, that's the problem. Is if this happens, there's going to be a flood of new homes on the market. The housing market that we know of right now, that is sky high for one, is going to come crashing down. People are going to be evicted from their homes. They will be homeless, and chances are we could see an increase in COVID cases. So that is something that the Biden administration does not want to do. So here's what's happening. Right now, what they are calling for is for all loan services or servicers to wait until December 31st, 2021 before they can start the foreclosure process. That's before they can even start, not before they can actually, kick somebody out of their home and foreclose on the property. That's when they can start. However, they also are looking for another huge bonus for current homeowners. And here's what it is. The new plan would allow homeowners that have been affected by COVID to automatically be eligible for 480 months. That's not a typo. I didn't misspeak. That's 480 months of an extension to their existing home loans. So, all this would happen without any additional interest or without larger principal payments. What this means, essentially, what this is saying is homeowners would get 40 years of an extension on top of their current loan. Let's say you bought a house 5 years ago. So you paid off, let's say, 5 years of payments. Well, if you were to go and do this, you'd have 25 years on your, let's say you had a 30-year fixed rate loan. You would have 25 years left on that loan. Plus, now, according to this plan, you would have an additional 40 years on top of that. So total, you'd have 65 years of payments to pay off the existing balance of your home. You know what? 65 years, and I can't even find anything to do the math on this. I could do it, rough numbers and stuff in my head and on a calculator, but I didn't feel like doing that. But there's no mortgage calculator that will extend it for 65 years. There's none out there. And so that's essentially what's happening. And what some people are saying is this will be the largest bailout in our housing market history. Many people could take the government up on this offer, whether or not they've had serious hardships due to COVID. If you've been affected by COVID at all, which is every single one of us, if you have a mortgage, you can go and do this. You would be eligible for this. So 40 years on top of your current mortgage. What that's going to do is that's going to lengthen your loan. That's going to bring down your payments. It's going to make it where housing is actually feasible to most Americans. Right now, housing prices are so high in some areas, a lot of people cannot even afford to buy a house. Some people cannot even afford to rent an apartment on their own. They have to go and find a roommate or roommates in order to be able to live. And that's what the Biden administration is saying is unacceptable. So, What I can tell you right now is whether this plan gets support from other Democrats or not, right now it doesn't matter. Right now they're looking for, I think, until April 11th, I believe, which is Sunday. Right now, this bureau is looking for comments from public figures to just try to see, okay, what do they expect? What do they think of this plan? That's what they're looking at right now. But the reason why I bring this up is because right now the plan doesn't really matter. We're going to wait and see until it turns into an actual proposal, to a bill, and see how many Democrats and maybe Republicans get behind it. I doubt any, but we will see. The point is that Democrats are looking at every way possible to provide additional relief to the American people, whether it's through direct payments, whether it's through tax credits, or whether it's through some type of relief or bailout like this. That's what Democrats are looking for. So what I can tell you is to be prepared for more plans just like this, because right now Democrats are looking at every single way possible to try to get Americans through this pandemic. This is a once-in-a-lifetime crisis. And right now, they say we must do everything in our power to provide for the American people. Now, and all this is now possible simply because Senator Chuck Schumer and the Senate parliamentarian, they worked out a deal. They figured out a way. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer found a loophole in the Senate reconciliation rules. He found a loophole that will now allow revisions to the budget reconciliation that they just passed of $1.9 trillion. So, and I think this is interesting that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer found this when Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, he's been struggling to get some things passed for years simply because he didn't have the votes. And so now it's like, well, if he would have found this years ago, there could have been other things that they kind of put in here. So now it's actually making Mitch McConnell look bad. And some are saying that right now Mitch McConnell is furious over what is happening, not because that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is changing the rules, but because he's finding ways to do Mitch McConnell's previous job better than Mitch McConnell did, according to some reports. So we'll see what happens there. But right now, this loophole that was accepted by the Senate parliamentarian just yesterday and by her standards, this is going to allow Democrats an additional tool to pass another bill using the same 51-vote majority budget reconciliation. So this means that the $1.9 trillion stimulus package that was passed, we could see something very similar to that exact same thing for this $2.25 trillion infrastructure bill. So just keep that in mind. Right now, there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of stuff happening. I don't know for sure what we're going to see, but what I can tell you, it's going to be interesting to watch because some Democrats are asking for everything. Everything under the sun, Democrats want it. Progressives, they want $2,000 per month. They want Medicare for all. They want to see a wealth tax. They want to see larger corporations taxed much higher. But then here's the other issue that I just want to bring up really quick, that some are saying that, well, these large corporations, okay, FedEx, Nike, okay, was it DirecTV, or right now there's so many different companies out there that are paying absolutely nothing in taxes. Some companies haven't paid taxes in years, paid anything for federal taxes, have paid nothing because there's so many incentives for them. There's so many ways for them to pretty much, like CEOs, instead of paying a CEO a typical salary, give them stock options. Because then you actually get benefits of giving away stock options and shares in the company as opposed to giving a physical salary. And so there's many different loopholes here. But what we know right now, and this is what some lawmakers are saying, is even if we go and increase the tax rate on these large corporations from 21 to 28%, which is what President Biden is hoping to do, they're saying this won't work. Because just because you raise the rate, that only affects people that are actually paying that rate. But if these large corporations, let's say FedEx, Nike, are not paying 21% to begin with because they found all these loopholes, that you have to actually change the tax code. You have to change the tax code. You can't just raise the rate. Raising the rate's not going to hurt these mega conglomerates, these big corporations. It's not going to affect them. It's going to affect the littler guys. The guys that are making millions of dollars but yet are still paying taxes. Those are the ones that are going to be impacted. Yet the big guys, they're going to keep making more and more money because they know those loopholes to get around these little tax codes, these breaks. And so that's what some lawmakers are saying is, no, we can't just raise the rate. We have to actually change the code, which then others are saying, well, that's too much. We can't do all of that. That's going to be too time consuming. That's going to be too intensive. It's so much work. But this is what we have to do. So let me give you some other news as well, because right now there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Walgreens has decided to change their COVID schedule for the Pfizer vaccine. Previously, they were waiting 4 weeks. They were waiting 4 weeks before giving the second dose of the shot. Now, the CDC states that we should wait no longer than 3 weeks. 3 weeks is the new timeline. So they have decided to make that move. But however, there's no indication that waiting 4 weeks was anything was going to be worse than just waiting 3 weeks. According to some, they say that there's absolutely no adverse effects. Canada and even Britain are having their residents wait months using the same vaccine, but instead of getting one shot and then coming back 3 or 4 weeks later, they have them wait months so that they can get more people in the door to actually take the first one. Because what they say is studies show that if you take the first one, you're highly likely to take the second. But if you do not ever take the first one and you keep pushing it back and back and back, chances are nobody would ever take it. So that's a big issue. And currently, experts worry that the UK COVID variant that is now present in every single state in the United States, this could trigger a surge in cases. Experts even say, and they worry, that the current rate of vaccinations is actually too slow. The U.S. will not be far enough along in order to stop the surge. And this is what is causing President Biden, sometime today, he is supposed to come out and say that he is moving the deadline for the United States so that all adults should be eligible for the vaccine no later than April 19th. That is 2 weeks from tomorrow or from yesterday. So just keep that in mind. There are things that are moving up. There's timelines that we're trying to get to go faster, but we will see. Hopefully, we will be back to normal before we know it. What I can tell you is that's all we know at this point. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back and share more. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on, and I'll see you guys on the next one.